Hey everyone, welcome back to Airstream Expeditions. We're Julio and Erica. In this episode, we travel to Arizona and visit the Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. We'll paddle in our kayak on the 15-mile stretch of the Colorado River between Glen Canyon Dam and Lee's Ferry. We'll also explore the surrounding area and take a short drive to the Antelope Point Marina, where we'll explore beautiful Lake Powell by watercraft. So stick around and join us on our adventure here in Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. Kayaking the Colorado River has been a bucket list item for us for quite some time, and we recently had an opportunity to make it a reality. Our destination would be Lee's Ferry Campground, located within Glen Canyon, just outside of Page, Arizona. After crossing the Colorado River next to Navajo Bridge, which we'll visit later in the video, you'll drive up to the Lee's Ferry entrance point. It's here where you will pull over and pay the entrance fee at the kiosk. For 7 days, pedestrians and bicyclists pay $15, motorcycles pay $25, and private vehicles pay $30. As we continued to Lee's Ferry Campground, we were amazed by the beautiful scenery all around us. We passed by Balanced Rock, which is a huge boulder that broke away from the cliff thousands of years ago and is a great place to check out. We're here at Lee's Ferry's campground, and at this campground there are 54 sites. The cost is $20 per night. Dry camping. There's a kiosk as you enter the campground here. You fill out an envelope, put your cash in there or your credit card number, put it in the drop box. There are some sites that are closer to the river, which we'll show you in a bit, and some that are further away. There's pros and cons to both, but it's a nice little campground that's maybe a 3 to 5 minute drive from Lee's Ferry and other attractions in the area. The campground is situated just a few hundred yards from Paria Beach, which is where the Paria River meets the Colorado. The campsites closest to the river have a beautiful view, but you're a little bit closer to your neighbor. It's where most of the people were camped out. But we opted for the opposite end of the campground because we noticed that the sites here are more spaced out with plenty of room. But you really can't go wrong here at this campground. Every single site has a beautiful view of the canyon walls. Nice long space. You still see a view of the river from here, even though you're on the opposite end of the beach. See the canyon there? The sun rises over that canyon on that side, and you can see the river from here. Each site has one of these protective coverings with your standard picnic table and fire ring. We had our Starlink set up behind the Airstream at the rear of the campsite, and it had a clear view of the sky. We had fantastic speeds of about 165 megabits download per second and about 13 megabits upload per second. Good morning. It's about almost 7 a.m. We're going to head over to Lee's Ferry, inflate the kayak, get everything ready. Our backhaul service leaves at 8 a.m. We're going to head up about 10 miles upriver past Horseshoe Bend and just past the Petroglyphs. And that's where they're going to drop us off. From there, we'll pedal down the river, stop by the Petroglyphs, Horseshoe Bend, and see what else we can find. So forecast today is about 68 degrees would be the high, and there will be some winds. Should be a fun day today. There's quite a bit of history behind this area. The Grand Canyon is one of the greatest natural attractions in the world, and at the same time it forms one of the greatest natural barriers in the United States. There are very few bridges or ferry crossings across the Colorado River, and because of that, this part of Arizona was very isolated from the rest of the state. One of the historic crossing points of the Grand Canyon was here at Lee's Ferry. Although not actually in the Grand Canyon, it's officially the beginning of the Grand Canyon, and it's managed by the National Park Service. This crossing received its present name after John D. Lee was asked by Mormon church officials to establish and operate a ferry that could be used by church immigrants traveling south on colonizing missions. For 55 years, the ferry serviced folks traveling across the Grand Canyon, but with the creation of the automobile, it soon became outdated and insufficient. In response, the historic Navajo Bridge was built to allow for better automobile travel. We're here at Lee's Ferry. It's almost 8 o'clock and we're just waiting to load up and head upriver. We're here at the petroglyph panels. We're gonna have a bite to eat. Check out the petroglyphs before we get on the water. As you come up the trail from the water, see a sign there that leads up to the petroglyphs. This place is pretty nice. This is our first stop. We just docked our kayak.
Love it!
The petroglyphs behind me are called the Descending Sheep Panel. Scientists say they're estimated to be between 3,000 to 6,000 years old. I could see why they call it Descending Sheep Panel. It's a panel of sheep descending down from the cliffs, maybe to the river. I've always wondered what these petroglyphs mean. There's some there at the bottom as well. But it's amazing to know that these are between 3,000 to 6,000 years old. It's pretty beautiful. Look at that contrast. It's pretty amazing. Descending Sheep Panel. What you eating there, honey?
Best thing ever. Yep, peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Breakfast of champions.
My fave.
And so we began our 10-mile paddle down the Colorado River. The nice people over at Kayak the Colorado, which is the backhaul service that for a fee will give kayakers a ride upriver, recommended that we start at the halfway point, which is about 10 miles from Lee's Ferry. The furthest upriver the backhaul service will take you is up to the Glen Canyon Dam, which is about 17 miles. That would be an all-day paddle, and most people that go up that far paddle for half the day, then camp out at one of the handful of campsites along the river from the dam to Lee's Ferry. It actually sounds like an amazing time to be able to camp out along the Colorado River, but this time we opted for the half-day trip. We just passed the petroglyphs, and the next stop will be Horseshoe Bend. There were some sections in the river where the water was just too low and we got stuck, so we would have to exit the kayak and move towards deeper water.
We should just go that way. Getting better. It's getting deeper.
Better?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Take a break, I'll paddle us a little bit. We're here at Horseshoe Bend. We're at the 9-mile campsite. What's really cool about kayaking down the river here is that all along the river, maybe every mile or so, there's a campsite, a primitive campsite with the fire ring, plenty of space for tents, and a bathroom. So this would be something to think about coming back to, because we can spend the night here at the world famous Horseshoe Bend, set up camp, and then continue the next morning. But it's a pretty nice day considering there's some wind gusts. But I think we're about halfway back to Lee's Ferry, but we're just going to check out the campground here, or the campsite, and continue on our trek. This is one of the first campsites when we pulled off. A lot of area here to pitch a tent, firing, some rocks. There's another campsite over there, and every campsite typically has a bathroom. They're very clean. Very surprised at how clean these bathrooms are for being on the river. Let's go check this out over here. And if you can see right there is the overlook where all those little people are. Well, they're not little, but there's the overlook.
Little mini me's.
Erica there pulling out some snacks before we get back onto the water. Snack time at Horseshoe Bend. After exploring the 9-mile campsite at Horseshoe Bend, we decided to continue our trek back downriver towards Lee's Ferry. Once again, let Erica do the paddling. Feels good in the sun.
It was like going. It was a hot day.
Yeah, it feels a hot day going too. Say we're about 2 miles past Horseshoe Bend, heading back to Lee's Ferry. We have one more stop before we head back to Lee's Ferry, and that's Waterhole Canyon, a little slot canyon hike. I think the guy said it's 1.5 miles. We'll check that out. The water flow is pretty decent considering the water level is pretty low based on what our guide said, but pretty peaceful, flow's good. When you paddle with the flow, you actually move pretty quickly, unless the wind is going against you.
Whoa. This is such a great way to just really admire the canyon.
And down below.
You're not walking. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Fun killer. Boat. Crevices. I wonder if bighorn sheep could go up there. Okay, can I just have a little moment of silence?
Erica wants a moment of silence.
Isn't that pleasant? Look at those perfect circular circles on the rock. You see it?
The perfect circular circles?
They're so perfect. Except to say circular circles.
What's that?
A light? Looks like a light. Is this where we saw a bighorn sheep? Where's that canyon slot?
The bighorn were up ahead.
Oh.
I remember it was before this little bend here.
Can you imagine this was your backyard? You're like, oh, I'm gonna take the kayak. I'll be back.
After work, I'm gonna go kayak down for an hour.
Can you open this for me? What? What?
Nothing. I'm trying to get your video.
Isn't that calming, the water?
Yep. Look down. Look down.
Oh, look. I love it.
It's clear. Water's really clear. Not as cold as what I read. About 62 degrees. Actually feels pretty good. Would you jump in, honey?
It feels a little warmer, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we got a nice little beach right there.
See sand.
Some wild horses over there along the riverbank. We saw them all the way up river this morning. And I think that's the same spot. I think that's their spot right there. Looks like they're drinking water. Lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. That was corny, huh? I'll cut that out. Found this nice little cove here. Water's nice and warm. Right here. Okay, so we're gonna pass. You know where we got on the boat? We're gonna pass that. And before we knew it, we were back at Lee's Ferry. Kayaking the Colorado River at Glen Canyon was truly a special experience that we would recommend to anyone who's up for a little adventure.
Almost there, honey.
It's a great way to take in the beauty of the area and admire all the natural wonders surrounding you. We made it back to camp and had an early dinner and turned out for the night. Please join us next time in part 2 of our Glen Canyon and Lake Powell adventure, where we'll continue to explore the Lee's Ferry area. We'll visit Navajo Bridge, the Lonely Dell Ranch homestead, and drive an hour up the road to Lake Powell, where we'll stay at the Antelope Point Marina and RV park and explore Lake Powell by watercraft.